Yeah. Wow. So we've moved on to YouTube tonight, YouTube Live. So some folks we need some folks to sign in and that type of thing. So we're going to be monitoring comments and the like. So hopefully it runs smooth. But we are going to.
We're up.
Right, we're up? Okay. Welcome. It's almost like we're starting the meeting over when we welcome the folks that are dialing in from remote locations. So for the folks that are watching us on YouTube Live tonight, number one, thank you for joining us, and congratulations for getting through the process of signing into YouTube. We've been having some issues. If you didn't hear me a couple of moments ago, we've been having some issues with our Facebook Live feed, so we are broadcasting via YouTube Live tonight. Ecker, you okay? You texting somebody up here? You got that? I just texted you. Look on your face. Okay, cool. You
Nick, the number on the bottom left. Nick,
right.
There's two numbers underneath there. What number is that right there where your cursor is?
This is 14 views right here.
So that's who's in the room right now?
It's really 65
In the room.
viewers in a room.
Okay, good. So we're getting there. Usually we have between 150 and 200 people that pop on and off throughout the meeting, but we're changing the platform to YouTube. We expect that we'll probably have 150 to 200 angry messages and somewhere in the 100 range that finally get through to the meeting.
So folks, please sign in by commenting in the chat area your name, first, last, and the store you work for. If you have to sign in, right, to your YouTube account to be able to chat. Okay, so please do that at some point throughout this meeting. So number one, you'll be credited for your attendance here, obviously. Thank you for being here. Number two, probably more important to you, you'll be entered to win a gift card here later tonight.
It's a free account. Don't stress out. Just sign up. It'll log you in, and then you can hit subscribe on the bottom of the video. That will then give you the ability to chat and interact with us just like you used to do on Facebook Live. If you don't do that, you can interact with us live as we go, and you'll be sending us angry messages on Facebook later and tomorrow morning, and I'm going to say I told you so. So sign on for a quick account. It's free. It's easy. It takes seconds. Hit subscribe, and away you go.
All right? And from where we're sitting, we can see the number of participants growing out there. So thank you for joining us. And we are going to continue to move on. For those of you who have missed the first few moments of this meeting, if you've got a question, please throw it into the chat. And we have folks monitoring the chat. And we have folks that will be responding up to us with any questions that you may have. We will have a question and answer period during this meeting towards the end, and we will have our raffles at the end also, okay? So again, thank you for everyone who's on YouTube Live. Obviously, thank you to all of the folks that are in the room tonight. We really appreciate seeing all of you folks. Some new faces, some faces that are, I won't say old faces, but some faces that we haven't seen in a while. Familiar faces. So thank you. So we're going to run through our agenda tonight. We're going to try and keep it as brief as possible. But for our first speaker to join you, I'm going to ask James Warsaw from Fusco, Brandenstein, and Rada to come speak to you. Jimmy is one of our workers' comp attorneys that addresses the membership with very important message every general membership meeting. So, Jimmy, welcome.
Thank you. As always, thanks, Joe. Pleasure to be here. You have quite a crowd, and the virtual crowd I see as well. Hope my speech is familiar to many of you. I can as well try to keep it somewhat brief. Here on behalf of Fusco, Brandenstein, and Rada, we're very proud to help the members with workers' compensation, Social Security, disability, variety of legal matters. If we don't do it in-house, we know someone who does, and have a very long-standing relationship with the union. It's just fielding some questions about workplace injuries, some of the more common, less common. One of the most important things we can do at union meetings is just remind people to get out there. If something's happening on the job, you don't want to wait to report it. Create a record early. See doctors right away. Call us. You can save yourself a lot of problems by just doing everything best you can initially to have things documented. This way, there's an insurance company that won't say, there was a long wait period. How do we know it didn't happen somewhere else? So the first time we heard about this was days or weeks after the actual, event that happened. So, and overwhelmingly, we find, everyone knows what to do if they fall off a ladder or slip and fall or have some kind of a basic accident. You can point to a time and place. Others to be mindful of what's called repetitive strain injuries that can occur over time. So if you work for 10, 20, 15 plus years, and you're having a lot of issues, say, with your shoulders, with your knees, bad backs. Some of it may be old age or things that can happen to the best of us, but for those of you regularly on your feet, doing a lot of lifting, bending, stock, repetitive strain cases are just as important as ones where, somebody slips and falls.
Let me
So
ask you a question. With pre-existing conditions, can say you're aggravated while working,
you can.
so they would have to accept that.
Well, like anything else, we take it as case-by-case basis, but the fact that you may have had an injury on the job in the past, or say some type of a repetitive strain or an issue, and then you could have something that you point to as a date and time or an aggravation of a condition, can get a little complicated in terms of what's called apportionment, where they may try to, it's not exact science, but say you have a doctor that's been treating you for some time for a condition, and then they're seeing the change, and something at work happened, or your job title changes to where you're now doing activities that are clearly aggravating something that was there all along, but they're making it worse. So initially, you don't necessarily have to show anything that anybody else does not have to, but
You have
when
to show a doctor treating you.
You can have this conversation with him specifically after the meeting. Just let him finish his presentation.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's one of the questions we get all the time, though. Like, if I have an injury in the past and something else happens at work, does that mean that I'm stuck with it, or that they're not going to be able to help me and I don't get the same rights and benefits as everybody else? So the frustrating legal answer is it depends. That's usually the honest one, though. If we review it, though, I'd be able to walk you through it, probably point you in the right direction. And like everything else, what we do is medical driven. No one really wants to listen to a lawyer talk about somebody's medical condition or an injured worker advocate for themselves. So you present the case the right way. You get an expert on board that knows your medical history and is able to really, advocate for you, has the credentials, and show, this isn't the same case or the same injury as what he dealt with 5 years ago before whatever happened on the job or whatever you were doing on the job that made it worse. So there's a lot of wrong information about these types of things too, where people think that if they have something that's happened to them in the past, well, I can never raise it again, no matter what happens. I had this injury to my knee years ago, so nobody's going to care, or they're not going to be able to help me with it if it happens again or gets worse on the job. So, just to give you an idea, you could have somebody that has, say a common knee injury. They had a meniscal tear, they had a surgery. This was 10 years ago, right? So there's a history of a knee problem. Then they're on the job, and things are getting worse and worse, to where they're able to work clearly for many, many years, had no issues. Something happens. Now that injury that might have been there, might have been problematic, but now you have multiple doctors saying this person needs a knee replacement. And that's one of the common things where we could see. So just the idea if there's a problem in the past is going to bar you from having any rights and benefits in the future, not true. That's one of the things that we'd always encourage you to talk to us about. So, for the repetitive strain injuries, we touched on that. Just as important as an accident claim, or one of the more obvious ones, very common that you have carpal tunnel. We see that everywhere. People work on computers all the time. People that do a lot of scanning, a lot of work with their hands, and they have pain. They think it may just be something that goes with the territory. Well, possible, but there's also clients that never miss a day from work, end up getting all their medical covered, potentially lump sums with injuries like this, and they often go kind of under the radar, unless you have somebody that's a little more in tune to it and can talk to you about it and work it up. So one of the good things now is that the benefits are all pegged to state averages, where every July 1st, they're going to redo what's called the maximum benefit. So the most that an injured worker can get while out of work from an insurance company. Trend is up. Not too many years ago, it was $400 a week. And then in a very short time, we saw that go up to $500, $600, $700. Currently, it's a little over $1,100 as a tax-free benefit. That's the max you can get while out of work, which, in and of itself, and say for a career-ending injury, may not be put anybody on easy street, cost living in New York, but between that, say, Social Security disability, if you're out for an extended period of time, you can get multiple benefits. You can get to a place that's more workable than people that think that they have an injury and it's a crisis. They used to go to work every day, paying their bills. Now they're out, they're hurt, and they can't do that. So we help them. They call us up. We're going to look at it not only from the workers' comp perspective, Social Security, any and all benefits that may be available to you. It's our job to really make sure that we're looking at that. And then again, we have the team of experts that knows to look for third-party cases. That if it happened on the job or on the premises, some of the things that we'll see is a slip and fall in a parking lot, right? Maybe say it's owned by King Cullen or Stop and Shop, but that property is maintained by another company, and they really weren't keeping up with, say, the weather, the conditions, and you have somebody that slips and falls. It's a workers' comp claim. There also may be a lawsuit, and you need to have the right team of eyes to look at that and recognize that. It's another thing that's often overlooked and can be a game changer in terms of the value of any given case. So I do have some materials in the back. Of course, I'd be more than happy to talk about any specific questions, injuries that you have. I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of people that have been in, say, business doing physical work for 10, 20, 30 years, never had an injury before. Some of you may have had several, but a lot of times if you look to the person in the left or the right of you and they can tell you all about their case, it may be totally different from something that's more relevant to you or somebody else. There are all different types of injuries. It's not all one and the same. So it's important that you have us as a resource to bounce the questions off. We're going to have you come into the office. Welcome to come up to me in the back today. I'll set up a time to talk freely. So always appreciate the time. Thank you for having us here. Feel free to follow up with us individually. Thanks again. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Before I invite our next speaker up, I just want to take the opportunity to introduce to you our rank and file executive board that is here with us tonight. E-board, I know a bunch of you are standing in the back, but the rest of the E-board that are sitting, please stand so we can acknowledge you guys. So, for those of you, keep standing. For those of you who don't know, Artan Shabani, Keith Jefferson, Alicia Boak, Rob Schnars, Jeannie Batita, George Roman back there, Ray Marrero, Chuck Howard, Danny Gleason, I don't know if Danny had to go. Did I miss anyone else? And Jack. Jack is Jack's home today. He had an issue. Oh, Jack, hey. Welcome, Jack. Stand up, Jack, so they can see you. But thank you to everything that you do, Rank and File Executive Board, for the decision-making that you do with the staff. But thank you. An issue in the back of the room?
Is there an issue with people hearing us in the back?
Okay. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that.
Let's redo that. Paul wanted to know if those of you in the back of the room are having a problem hearing the front of the room.
That's English.
Because at the end of the day, if you couldn't hear what was going on, you damn sure didn't hear that. We're good.
I'd also like to introduce to you our office staff that is attending this meeting tonight. Office staff, come on, stand up. I'm not going to name you all by name, but yeah, I will. That's our internal office staff, our pension department, annuity department, medical department, legal services department, all of the folks that help you out on a daily basis when you call or email in. So thank you for attending the meeting tonight. Yeah. Next speaker, I'm going to invite Desmond Byfield. There you go, Des. Come on up. Come on. Yeah, oh, no. Man, happy to see you. Yeah, come on, let me see you.
Come on, son, find that seat. Let's go.
He said something about, you get to sit in the president's seat.
I like
or
to
something.
stand up.
Brother, sit down. You ain't
I know. What is going on, man? I'll move this a little closer.
I think you spent too much time in the freezer, bro.
Just make sure they hear you in the back, okay?
Can everybody hear me? Yes?
Yes.
All right. I got a little speech ready, so I'm going to try to read from here and a little bit off the cuff a little bit. So let me introduce myself. Like Joe said, my name is Desmond Byfield. Worked in the stores for 30 years. Worked my way up from being a part-time clerk to assistant store manager at D'Agostino's. Good. My D'Agostino family, how y'all doing out there? Thank you. Like I said, it went from being a part-time clerk to assistant manager pretty much like overnight. Left D'Agostino's in 2006 to work for Pathmark. So I worked for Pathmark / A&P / Stop and Shop for like another 12 years. Then ShopRite calls me in 2018 and offered me a job. So they said, Des, I'll give you $7 extra on my pay to leave Stop and Shop to work for ShopRite. One of the first thing I did was I called Rob Newell. I said, Rob, you think this is a good idea for me to make the jump? Rob said, listen, how much they paying you? I said, they're giving me $7 extra. He said, listen, you'd be a fool to turn it down. So,
If you turn it down, I'm calling you a white.
so took the money 2018, went to work for ShopRite, the new store in the Bronx, Phyllis ShopRite. But at the time, I didn't know who Phyllis ShopRite was. So that's why I reached out to Rob. Rob said, listen, Phyllis ShopRite, good company to work for. So I was there for maybe about 3 years. I was doing good. Love Village. They treated me very well. No complaints. One day, got a phone call from Joe Waddy. Picked up the phone. Joe, what's up?
You gonna reenact this shit?
Yes. So
Give a man a microphone. You never know what happens.
you should have never did this. So spoke to Joe. Joe said, "Listen, we're looking for a rep here in the office because there's another senior rep is about to retire." So Rob walks into the room while I was on the phone with Joe. So I said, "How can I say no? This is two people that I really trust." So took the position. 2 years later, I'm here and I'm doing. I think I'm doing good.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Can we skip back like 10 seconds?
So, but just
Greg, make sure you take notes for your end. All right?
But just to be serious though, I love what I do. I love to help the members. I like to have fun while I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, so I want to thank Joe, Rob, Allie for the opportunity for me to be here as a union rep. All right, so thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, man. These your glasses, Des?
Yeah, thank you. Shit, I didn't even need it, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Come on, go, go.
He winged it. Desmond is the rep for Putnam, Dutchess, a little bit of northern Westchester County. For those of you who are up there, he's your rep. I don't know that you mentioned that. And yes, you are doing a good job by all reports. So that's for us to say. All right, now but keep up the good work and just
Don't fuck it up.
yeah. I was Desmond's rep going back a few years back in Manhattan when he was with D'Agostino, and then again when he was with Pathmark. So when we're looking for someone on staff, obviously we try to grab people who are current or former members because they've been members of ours. They kind of can relate out there in the stores, and it usually is a smooth transition that way. So that's what we thought about Desmond when we needed someone on staff. So thank you, Desmond, for your report. Up next will be George Capagenopoulos. You in the room, George? There you go. Come on up, George. There's a raffle tonight for anyone who could spell George's last name properly.
Without a business card, I'm looking on the web.
Or getting carpal tunnel. I won't go into my life story, so I'll just keep it short and sweet. I wanted to tell everybody about the Labor Day Parade coming up. It's a Labor Day Parade in March in New York City, and it's going to be Saturday, September 9th. It's the Saturday after the actual Memorial Day. So, Labor Day. And it's a great time. We're going to have a bus come here at the local. We're going to pick everybody up. We'll take you into the city. We have giveaways, tons of giveaways. So Brian, if you need a shirt, we'll definitely have a shirt for you. We'll have food, and we'll be able to march down Fifth Avenue and show our union pride. Show everybody how important essential workers are. So I wanted to invite everybody. Get the word out. We'll be putting up flyers in the stores to remind folks. If you guys can talk it up, we'd really appreciate it.
All right.
That's it for me.
George, how can they get a hold of you?
I was just going to say.
Oh, yeah, reach out to me. My shop card is up everywhere. Reach out to any one of your reps.
It's up everywhere in your area.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, please reach out to your reps.
At UFCW 1500.
Yeah, you can also email me, georgek@ufcw1500.org. That's pretty much
You'll
it.
also be here tonight for those of you who want to commit to being to the parade, and we hope that we have some
We're taking sign-ups. Yep.
commitments tonight, so you don't have to email them. You can just let them know tonight. All right? Saturday, September 9th, the Saturday after Labor Day.
And
Okay?
bring a plus, yeah.
Thanks, George.
You got it.
Moving on to our next speaker, our Director of Operations, Paul Santarpia. Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. What happened? I missed something?
He was like, yeah, I'm done. I could come sit down now, but.
That's all right, I'll sit in your seat.
That's fine.
What is that smell?
Oh, wow. Hello, world.
I agree.
You should shower more. Good evening, everybody. In all seriousness, thank you for everybody that is here showing up. We have a nice crowd tonight, and I appreciate you showing up, and I would love to see you more often. And for all of you out in the internet world, thank you also for attending. I just want to touch base on charity funds that we are, events that we are running this year. We just had a very successful event Sunday. If any of you that attended, I want to thank you. It was the Comedy Club. We did an excellent job, thanks to Gina Guelli and anybody else that bought tickets. I appreciate all your efforts. The other events that we got coming this year so far, we have my baby, which is the blood drive. It's on August 3rd. It's a Thursday. So please, if you can sign up to the blood drive and donate, bring as many people you can that's willing to donate. It goes a long way. We save for every pint of blood, you save 3 lives. So it's a nice day. When we feed you, you don't go hungry here. After that, we have a fishing trip out in Suffolk County. It's run by Jeff Godato and Steve Zina. That's Friday, August 25th. I believe it's from 5 to 9.
Jeff, 5 to 9?
5 to 9. And Booze Cruise. And George mentioned the Labor Day parade. He mentioned the bus. The bus will be leaving here. We don't have times yet or where we're meeting in the city. But usually the bus, the Long Island membership, normally the people in our members from the city and upstate usually meet us at the location in general. When we have that information, we will be posting it on our socials and also in the store. We plan more events. I probably tell you that we're going to have another later in the year, another comedy club out in Suffolk. But there are other areas that the union reps are looking for ideas and trying to raise money for a variety of charities that we help sponsor and contribute to. Tonight we're going to have the raffle for the wine and chocolate basket that we've been doing for the past few months, and there's going to be an opportunity for 2 people to win it, or if someone's lucky enough and bought 2 tickets and they happen to win twice, so be it.
Also comes with a local 1500 sweatshirt.
Yes, the basket consists of 4 bottles of wine, 2 boxes of chocolate, a local 1500 hat, and a local 1500 hoodie sweatshirt. Okay?
To your size.
And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that, Paul. Thank you. I'll make some comments before I pass it on to our Secretary Treasurer, and then ultimately culminating with our President's report. Since we last met, I'll give you a little bit of a bargaining report, right? And I say this every time. Do I do a bargaining report every meeting? Well, yes, because we have so much bargaining going on that I would be remiss not to highlight it. But since we last met, we've been able to settle a couple of contracts. The King Cullen pharmacist contract for any pharmacists that may be watching or here tonight. I don't know, maybe I missed 1 or 2. Thank you very much for your participation in that. Settled and ratified. That was a unanimous ratification there. Scaturo, for those of you who know or have heard of Scoturo, two stores in the city that we represent, we were able to negotiate that contract and ratify it recently. Last week, I think we ratified that. So, thanks, Dave. Pomegranate, one of the former local 1718 stores that we have been custodians of for the past 2 years. We were able to negotiate that contract, reach a settlement, and ratify that one going back about a month or two ago. And, kudos to all of those members for standing up, standing strong, and getting those contracts settled. Again, we may be part of the bargaining committee, Ally and myself, but we can't do it without the member committee, especially, and we can't do it without the members' support out there in the store. So thank you to anyone that works at King Cullen in the pharmacy, Scoturo, Pomegranate. We are currently bargaining several contracts as well. Blank Street Coffee is a coffee company in the 5 boroughs of New York. That last time we may have reported that we were organizing these locations. We're currently certified in 4 out of the 6 neighborhoods. Now, these stores are clustered by neighborhood, so you'd have anywhere from 4, 5, or 6 stores in each neighborhood. Because they're small, they're anywhere from a brick and mortar coffee shop down to a cart, which I understand that they're doing away with the carts. But for those of you who work, live, or frequent the city, you may have come across a Blank Street Coffee, and we now are the bargaining agent for a great majority of those stores. Thank you to the Blank Street workers that have stuck together during this process. Very interesting process, and we had our first bargaining session this past Friday with the company, and we are looking forward to continuing that process. It was a very positive meeting, and we're looking forward to getting through this process and ultimately settling on the contract and having those members ratify their very first contract. So I would like to welcome the Blank Street workers to the local 1,500 family. So. We are also negotiating for a company named Whitson's, formerly Preferred Meals. Those of you who may know Whitson's because they represent or they handle a lot of food service type jobs on Long Island and in the city. A lot of school districts prepare foods for our kids in the school districts out in Suffolk County and throughout the Long Island and the 5 boroughs. So we had our first bargaining session with them a couple weeks back, and we have another session scheduled for tomorrow, actually. So wish us well there. Really appreciate it. Do we have any Whitson's employees here tonight? Anyone? No? Okay, just checking. Whitson's is another, I don't know if I mentioned this, another 1718 company, similar to Pomegranate. And we are moving forward with those companies. And the last thing on my list is Pickwick managers. I'll remind you, Pickwick, Key Food, we have 3 separate and distinct contracts there. We have the legacy contract, which is the original contract. We have a new store contract for any new stores they may open, and we have a manager's contract. In Pickwick, the store managers and the assistants are in the union, so they have a separate contract. And we have recently reached a tentative agreement there, so we're going to be looking to vote that very soon. Okay, and we'll report back to you. We have a couple of other negotiations that will be put on the calendar in the next few weeks, hopefully, and we'll report back at the next meeting on those. So again, thank you to anyone who working in any of these companies that I mentioned for sticking together and getting this job done, and for the ones that we're currently negotiating, we appreciate all of the support. So thank you again. I'm going to pass it over to Secretary Treasurer Ali Wadi.
All right, if you can't hear me, you have to let me know, because they all make fun of me because I speak low. I wanted to just echo the win on Blank Street. I'm not sure that you guys realize how significant and monumental it is to get 122 additional members to the union. So I do want to give a shout out to the organizing crew in the back for working their butts off to get this done. It's not an easy task to bargain a new contract. I can tell you, and I'm seeing some of my folks over here on the King Cullen Committee. I have Kelly right in my line of sight. And I do appreciate, just as Joe said, the leadership that they show. It's not easy to sit in front of your company and to talk to them about the things that you want. And while that's a really difficult task, imagine having to do that without a union. As a single person walking in without any protections, because I do think that that would challenge a lot of us, and it would separate, in other situations we would say the men from the boys, but, you know what I'm trying to say. And I do appreciate that leadership, because it is really important, and we'll continue to build on that. As Joe said, we are bargaining Blank Street, and we will continue to do so. And what's interesting is when I started with this union, I used to hear words like Pathmark and D'Agostino and Gristides, and these were the companies that we were all accustomed to hearing for a long time. But the more research that we do, and Rob and I'll say Paul also are historians of the union, and you see different companies that have come along the way. And we're seeing that today. We're becoming part of history here. And the folks at Blank Street and others to come. And, we do reserve a lot of comments on the companies that we're currently trying to organize. And it is a protection that we build for those workers. But those names will be added to the list, because one commitment that we've made is that we will continue to organize workers in the city of New York and make sure that the things that you enjoy every day, that they get to also enjoy. And those protections are pretty vast. You heard Desmond speak earlier about his history, and it all kind of ties in together. If you hear the different companies that he's worked for, he also has a lot of knowledge that he's bringing to our membership. His knowledge is no different than Gina's, or you have someone like Jeff, or you have someone like Danny Rogers, who welcome as our new membership servicing representative. And Danny worked in Pathmark back in 2014, I believe. You departed, Danny? 2014, you departed from Pathmark. So I wanted to introduce him a little bit differently, to say Danny is new to our family, but he's not really new to our family, because he is part of the history of Local 1500. So please join me in welcoming Danny.
Just stick your face in front of the camera. Let them see what to expect.
Come around here.
Danny Rogers.
Welcome, Danny. And it's easy for us to sit up here and say that we're really proud of the folks that work at our union. And Desmond, you are doing a great job. I think that's where you paused, and you went from great to good. But you are doing a great job, and we do appreciate everything that everyone brings to the table. It's a community of interest for all of us, whether you're talking about the president of the union that used to be a cart boy and now sits on a multitude of different labor bodies and represents our union, whether here locally or statewide, everywhere. There's a lot of knowledge in this room, and I want to say that I'm really happy to see all of the different faces, some new and some familiar, because we do need all of you to support us, to make sure that we send that message to the company, not just today, and not just when things are bad. If you read our newspaper a couple of editions ago, you would have noticed that Joe's article focused on the membership that attends events when things are bad. And we can't do that, because we'll also sending a message to the company that we'll only stand up when we have to. So we're actually inviting for them to attack us. And I want you to just think about those things. The more you participate, the stronger you make your union, the better that you make it. And you don't want other people having a voice for you. That's the worst thing that you could do. I, for one, could tell you that I don't want anyone speaking for me. So when I attend something, I definitely let people know what I'm about and what I expect. So thank you for being here tonight. I wanted to also move into a couple of current events that we're going to have. We are going to have a scholarship breakfast for the very first time. We've had other scholarship breakfasts to honor the folks that have won the scholarships. For the very first time, we're going to have a member address our membership as a success story. You know, Anthony Portizzi, and he's probably watching, and if you are, Anthony, hi, Anthony. Thank you for accepting to speak at our scholarship event. We're quite proud of the accomplishments and who he has become. Anthony was a member from King Cullen with a long history of participation. He attended events. He actually did some spurships, which are events with the International Union, where they take on a member of the union and they train them to either organize or to get involved in the union in different ways. So his involvement now is not new, and we look forward to what he will become in the future, because one thing I'll tell you, he's a very determined individual, and he's not going to stop until he becomes an elected official, and we will back him up until the end. So we do appreciate that. I also wanted to touch upon an event that Joe mentioned during the reading of the minutes. We had the, I would say, pretty distinguished honor to attend an event. And look, like them, love them, hate them, that's really not my point. But President Biden was in town, and our union was the only union that got to get invited. The reason why it's important is because no matter how you feel about an elected official, in that status, the fact that our union was feet away from the president says a lot about our status. And it says a lot about our president, because the invitation came because of his leadership and his involvement in a lot of different areas of the union, as I mentioned before. So I just wanted to take a moment. I know it was a different president, but it's because of him. So I just wanted to thank Rob for that.
Desmond actually did it.
We do routinely like to embarrass each other, so. I wanted to call out our office staff and just say thank you to them. As I mentioned before, our staff is built of a multitude of different skill sets and different personalities. If you heard from them on the phone about this meeting, I will tell you it won't be the last time. They will be calling you, they will be engaging with you, they will be getting to know you. If you're going to the Labor Day Parade, you will certainly see them there, and it's something that I'm really proud of, and I just want to thank them in advance, and you should also get accustomed to hearing from them. So thank you all for what you did. I just wanted to get you guys to clap all night, but and the last thing I want to cover, and it does play into, I hope Rob doesn't mind, it does play into a large part of his presentation. It's something that I find to be extremely important. For those of you that are not familiar with Senate Bill 5479, please get familiar with it. During the pandemic, your status was raised because of a lot of the things that you did. You were the only ones at work. You were the only ones that had to endure that. You know, we went over it. You know, when we talk about it, it wasn't just then, it's been before. This bill would make an assault on a retail worker a Class D felony, easy for me to say, in the second degree. The reason why that's important is because if you're watching and you're paying attention to the news, there are a lot of attacks on retail workers. It's something that has not been supported universally by everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean elected officials and other, even labor bodies. We care about our members. We care about you. We're not going to allow this bill to get swept under the rug and pushed aside. It is something that's really important to Rob, and I just wanted to say that it is important to all of us. This legislation would put you in the same category as police officers, firefighters, and other essential workers, which is where you belong. So you have our commitment. We want yours. I expect to see you guys more often and soon. Please go to the Labor Day Parade. It's a really nice event, as Paul said. It could be a lot of fun, but as you really showing your union pride, as that matters. Walking down the street and hearing your union's name, it's really important. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce President Rob Newell.
It's like a State of the Union address. Like every 3 seconds, somebody pauses, and then there's applause, and then there's applause, and there's applause. Let me just clear up a few things. First of all, every time we do a meeting like this, it's for a year. We start in person here at the hall at or around 7 o'clock, and then we go live usually anytime from 15 to 25 minutes after that time. We do a handful of things here that we don't do on a live broadcast. It's been the same since the first broadcast. So you heard 6.5 years. That's over 25 general membership meetings that have been done via Facebook Live or some form of broadcast. And there are still people that scream that we're late at 7 o'clock and at 5 after 7 and at 10 after 7, like we're all sitting here playing mahjong. We start pretty close to 7 o'clock every time, and I would love it if you want to challenge that assumption and you showed up here for the next couple of meetings, because that's what happens. The regulars know it. We open with a few things that we have to get done. That's why you don't see us do a pledge digitally. We do all of that prior to going live on the broadcast. So I just want to clarify that. When I go back later and I read the comments, I'm sure there'll be a few of you screaming that we were late again, as usual. No, we're not late. The in-person meeting starts at 7. We go live as soon as we're ready to go live. So just wanted to clarify that. To piggyback on something Ali said, our office staff is also making calls to the membership for a variety of reasons, whether it's trying to remind people about an upcoming event, calling folks that might be out on a disability or a comp or a family leave, just to verify that, A, if you're out, do you need anything? Have you been in contact? Are you trying to get a hold of your union representative? They're calling for folks that may have a missing beneficiary on their annuity card or on their medical card. You know, believe it or not, a lot of people don't really think about the importance of that. And in today's world, you just don't know when it's going to be that day. You don't know when your time is going to come. So having your beneficiary not only filled out, but having it be accurate with someone that you want it to be today is important. So our office staff routinely reaches out to members regarding missing beneficiaries. They could be calling you to tell you that you have a missing opt-in or opt-out form for your welfare plan, and your benefits can't start until that form gets filled out, gets signed, and gets scanned into the system. They could be looking for your email address or to update your cell phone number. These folks do a lot of administrative work for the union. And in today's world, you know, every time someone looks down at their phone and they see a number they don't recognize, that's bullshit, we stuff it, right? Every one of us. You see a text message that comes in, that's a scam, and you stuff it. We'll do the best we can to make sure that you know something's coming, but at the end of the day, if we send you a text to tell you that a text is coming, you're going to think the first one's a scam, so you're going to stuff the second one. You know, we have a part-time prescription discount program, and we're paying a solid amount of money every month to make sure that every part-timer who doesn't have the special med or the ACA medical has access to a discount card. That discount card applies to up to 6 people in your house, whether it's your grandmother, your child, your uncle, you live in, it doesn't matter. But those calls come out like robocalls. Those texts come out like robo-texts. And it's interesting because a lot of folks are missing out on the benefit because they don't take those calls. They listen to a voicemail message and they say, it's a scam, I'm not getting involved with this. So we started to put flyers up in the stores. We put it in the union newspaper. I respect everyone's desire not to get hacked, and I'm no different than any of you. But you are going to miss certain things on if you're just not giving us the benefit of the doubt that it could be your local union. So all I would tell you is do the best you can. If you have a question, if something looks fishy, call your rep. They'll tell you. They'll tell you right away. They know what it is. We're out there trying to drum up support. We're trying to drum up utilization for this part-time prescription card, especially because it's a great benefit and because we're paying for it. It doesn't come through the welfare plan. The union is paying that fee. We met with the executive board. The executive board agreed with the leadership of the local that this was something that the local should give back to its part-time members, not something that we should try to negotiate with one of your employers, and we're trying to do it. But it hasn't been as big an uptick as we expected, and we're hoping that we can get a really good take rate or a really significantly higher utilization rate in the second half of the year than we've had in the first half of the year. Okay, so just be aware we do communicate with our members in a host of different ways, and you can always verify that by either calling the office or just reaching out to your rep if you want to know whether something's legit or not, okay? So, thank you. I'll get into a couple issues. You heard some about the convention, especially when Joe read the minutes earlier. And for those of you on YouTube, you weren't live yet. For those that report, the UFCW convention was an overwhelming success for Local 1500 and for its membership. We were very dynamically represented. I was lucky enough to be elected an international vice president again. And although I was elected in 2021. As a VP, that was done at an executive board meeting, a very small event on a remote call, because at that time half the world was still closed. And this time I was elected in front of over 1,500 UFCW members and delegates in a giant convention hall. And I'm not going to lie to you, it was humbling. It was fantastic. It was a great feeling. It was a good amount of respect for our local union, but a great feeling for me to be the one standing on that stage representing us. In addition, Ali Wadi sat as a co-chair on the Rules Committee for the convention, and Joe sat as a co-chair on the Human Rights and Community Action Committee. Not bad off the top of my head, huh? Paul Santarpia was elected to be the Region 1 coordinator for UFCW Outreach, which is one of the 4 constituency groups based around helping 2SL, LGBTQIA plus workers all throughout our jurisdiction. And I didn't slow down. I want to make sure I said it right, because I get killed by my oldest because I flip the G and the B, and she tells me all the time I say it out of order, so I'm wrong. So Amanda, that was for you, because she's watching, right? But we had a really, really solid convention for our union. We were involved in resolution negotiation. We were involved in resolution preparation. We had both Keith Jefferson and Artin Shabani, who unfortunately didn't have their video shown at the end of the convention due to time constraints, but they were up on the stage representing us with a variety of members from across the country. They were selected as representatives from the Northeast for the UFCW, and for us not only to have one, but to have 2 representatives, just really, really a fantastic amount of respect. And although I've been to 2 prior conventions, I've never had the ability to lead our delegation in as the president. And, Tony Spielman said a few things to me before he handed me the keys, and one of them was, no one in this room, or no one in this organization is going to understand what it's like to sit in your chair except me. So if you don't know something, or you don't know what to say or who to say it to, don't forget you have my cell phone number. And there are times when that really doesn't make a lot of sense, and there are times when it's like a gift from heaven. And walking onto the convention floor with our delegation, our 22 delegates, was by far one of the proudest moments I've ever had at this union. We have an eclectic group. We are incredibly diverse, well-talented, well-spoken, and insanely representative of our membership and the companies that we have our collective bargaining agreements with. And for me, I sit with a lot of different folks on multiple central labor bodies, and there are some great unions out there with some fantastic staffs, and I'm sure they have some really good rank-and-file members and vice presidents, but I would stack our team up against anybody. So whether you're a Met fan or a Yankee fan or a Jet fan or a Giant fan, I think we got the best team in the house, and I'm really proud of all of them. And I can assure you that I get a lot of accolades because I have a title underneath my name on a business card, but none of those things are possible without every single person in this building, except for Desmond. But love you, kid. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. This is a team game. It's a team effort. It starts with our members. It extends to our shop stewards, up to our rank and file VPs, then our staff, and then up to those of us that are lucky enough to be the leadership team here. And I just want to say thank you to all of you, and thank you to our delegation from the convention, because it was a really, really significant success. So thank you all very much. Lynn Shields is not here with us tonight. She is at the tail end of a very long and very deserving career. Lynn is going to be retiring as of July 31st. As much as if she was here, she'd probably throw something at me for even acknowledging
probably
that.
watching.
She's definitely not watching. Lynn has been a union delegate here for just about the same amount of time that I was a delegate here, but she was a member of our office staff for quite a few years before she came out as a service rep. She's done her 30 years plus. This is a tough job, doing it for the length of time that some of us do it, and it can wear on you, and it can become more and more difficult to get up. And I think many of you would understand that from working in the supermarket business, the same bullshit, the same difficulties, the same blocks you run into on a daily basis. And I would submit to you that although our jobs are very different than the ones you do every day, you're all mostly physical in nature, and we don't do a lot of physical work here, although I've been carrying Desmond since we hired him. It is a difficult job. It can wear on you. And in Lynn's case, I commend her for getting out when the time was right. She made sure that her situation was right, and she's retiring at a very young age. Whether she moves on to do something else is up to her, but the reality is she got to where we all want to get. She got to retirement. She was able to punch that clock one more time, and we wish her nothing but the best. And for those of you that had the opportunity to have her as a rep or a service rep, or just jump in to give you a hand when you needed it, I'm sure you all wish her well also. So to Lynn, you're not here, but thank you very much, and good luck, and enjoy your retirement. Okay. All right, so I'm going to run through a few things. I tend to focus when I make a lot of our presentations. I tend to focus on our union as opposed to looking at the world around us. But I want to try to do a little bit of both tonight. I want to try to hit on a couple of points, and then I think if I don't screw it up, I should be able to get it all back into one nice tight package at the end. So if you just bear with me for a few minutes, just extend me a little bit of latitude. There's some information I think that's important, and I think some of you might know some of it. There may be a couple of you that know all of it. But I would assure you that many of you probably don't know most of it. So I think you should hear it. Organized retail theft in 2022 increased by 45%. 45% over 2021. Now, if you consider that 2021, we were still at the tail end of the pandemic. There was an increase from 2020. 2020, we were knee-deep in the pandemic, where literally everything that was on a shelf was getting stolen. So if you consider that it went up 45% in 2022, that's just a little bit of a depiction of how much gets stolen in our stores and in every retail establishment on a daily basis. This is not something for our members to get concerned with, to try to intercede about, or to try to protect or defend. Understand, this union is here to represent its workers, and we do everything we can to try to level the playing field for your employers, because without our employers, our members don't have jobs. That's not lost on us. We're not delusional. We don't think that the union hires and fires everyone. We don't think that the union employs everyone. But at the end of the day, if your employers don't do something to safeguard their inventory or safeguard their buildings, it's not up to you. And I understand, and we all understand, that it's a bit of human nature to try to want to stand up and defend what's yours. Defend your job, right? If the money goes out the door, you're worried maybe I won't have the hours. The store could close. Volume, the shrink is too high. The volume isn't high enough. All of those things may be true, but the one thing that can't be replaced is you. Your health, your safety, your well-being is more important than anything that any one of these people are going to steal. And this is not the same time as even 2 or 3 years ago. Inflation is high. Costs are out of control on goods beyond imagination. I encourage you to read Secretary Treasurer Waddy's article this month when you get your union newspaper. Prices are out of control. And it's not all about COVID, and it's not all about supply chain issues. It's about greed. The people walking in the door at your building are not the same mentality, or not the same folks, or not in the same life circumstance that they were in 6 months ago, a year ago. You don't know where their heads are at. You don't know why they are where they are. You don't know what happened to them that morning. And with all due respect, you don't know what they're capable of. At the end of the day, your employers have an obligation to provide a safe and comfortable work environment. We believe that there is not enough security in the stores, in all of the stores, whether that store is on the east end of Long Island, or in downtown Brooklyn, or in Dutchess County, or in Staten Island, we absolutely believe that there is not enough security in your stores. Reality being what it is, sometimes security or more security, even armed security, is not enough to defend people's lives in a supermarket. We just passed the 1-year anniversary of what happened in Buffalo. There was a retired, armed security guard in that building, yet 10 people still lost their lives. Including him, that's correct. There is no perfect solution, and I know everyone will have their strong opinions on it, and I think you're entitled to those opinions even more so than me. It's your place of work. But at the end of the day, no different than when we talk about organizing in our area, we talk about the fact that we have 5 organizers who do a fantastic job. Don't let that go to your heads. We have 25 staff that can help them at a moment's notice. But we're going to be a much more successful organization, union organizing, if we had 500 or 600 members that were helping us organize non-union shops. For a multitude of reasons, body count and volume, plus you're the best salesman this union could ever have. You enjoy those benefits, you enjoy what's in your collective bargaining agreements. It's no different when I look at the safety of our members in those stores. No matter what, your store manager, your assistant store manager, they can't protect every person in that building. And your 40 or so union representatives in this building can't protect 15,000 plus members in your stores. You all work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, over multiple states that we have the luxury of having jurisdiction in. It's going to take each and every one of you to protect your coworker. It's going to take each and every one of you to protect you. You should not engage with a customer. I get it. Customers can be brutal.
Oh, yeah.
Step back, walk away from the situation. Words can't hurt you. But if you lose your job, things degenerate quickly, you get into a shoving match, you don't know what's going to happen next. I fancy myself a pretty tough individual. Hang on. I fancy myself a pretty tough individual. I think twice about everything I do these days because I just don't know who that person is. I don't know what they're capable of. And I want to go home. I have a family. I love them, and I want to see them. And at the end of the day, we do things here in this building. I probably said at the end of the day like 5 times already.
It's a long day.
We do, yeah, it is. We do a lot of things here at the union office, and this is a much smaller building than anything that you work in your areas. It has many less entry and exit points than most of you have, and we have way less employees than most of our stores represent. But we do everything we can to make sure that they're secure, that they come to work with an expectation that they're going to be safe their whole day that they're here, and they're going to leave in the same capacity that they showed up in the morning. We don't have armed security at the door, but we do everything we can to try to make sure that they're safe. And we would hope that your employers would realize that the world has gone a little bit more batshit crazy than it was yesterday, and that they need to do a little bit more. I just don't know that there's a perfect solution. So all I would say to you is now more than ever, look to take care of one another, look to take care of each other, look to intercede to pull your coworker away from a situation as opposed to antagonizing the customer in an altercation. We have cases right now where members are suspended for defending each other in the stores. And it's human nature to want to do that. But the best thing you can do to defend your coworker is getting them the hell away from that customer. Not getting into the screaming match, not getting into a physical situation. We had a case where we referred to it as the stop lifter because there was a member, long-term department manager, who had just seen enough, and this guy was going out the door, and he stopped him, and Stop and Shop almost took his job away. We've dealt with this time and time again. They're going to cover their asses for their liability before they cover yours. So I implore upon you on behalf of the executives and the staff of this union, take care of each other and not the product in those stores. And no matter what they say to you, you have the ability to walk away. You walk away from your register and get suspended, I'll come and represent you if they don't put you back to work. No one needs to be in that situation. And if you're in the sanctity of an area that's protected and customers don't have access, don't leave it to prove a point. You want to show somebody you're tough? Show your family you're tough because you made it home that day. That incident, that moment in time is not going to matter. Do everything you can to try to protect yourselves and your coworkers. This organized retail theft has changed the game big time. in your stores. 30% of New York City's organized retail theft is being attributed to 327 people. 327 people responsible for 30% of the organized retail theft in New York City. Just wrap your head around the volume of money those 327 people are moving in product. It's not something you can fix. It's not something you should get involved in. And although I'm not asking you to encourage it or sing as they run by you, I'm just telling you it's not worth it. Okay? So let's talk about a few competitors out there. Competitors that are non-union, competitors that are just printing their own money. And let's talk about some of the stuff that they're up to. So Amazon, one of the biggest, if not the biggest competition for just about every industry in this country, printing money, right? No problem. Bezos is the man. They spent $14.2 million on labor consultants in 2022 to fight Staten Island and Bessemer, Alabama. $14.2 million for Amazon is less than one piece of gum out of a pack for any one of us. They would do it again in a heartbeat. They would spend 10 times that in a heartbeat. The FTC is debating action against Amazon for abusive power in its overall online marketplace because it basically cooks the books. It creates an unfair environment. It's almost a monopoly unto itself. They have all the sales data for all of their retailers who sell secondarily through their sites and third-party sales. And then they sell their own items and undercut the very people that they're charging to sell their products. This is a company that violates probably every antitrust law there is every single day, and there's been no government action. AWS, is everybody familiar with AWS? Amazon Web Services? Amazon Web Services is tied into the federal government, it's tied into NASA, it's tied into all of our information being saved in banks and in multiple institutions. AWS is the real financial arm of the Amazon company. But in February, Amazon laid off 18,000 workers. They may move it up to 27,000 workers, mostly in corporate jobs and at Whole Foods Market. Makes sense, right? It's not AWS. But then in April, Amazon laid off 9,000 workers out of the AWS division. How do you have 9,000 people you can lay off out of the division that literally makes more money than almost every government on the planet? They let off 9,000 people. They're sitting in our area right now with 7 boxes, 7 stores, 2 of them open, 5 of them ready to go with nothing, no plans in sight. They're sitting dormant. The Amazon Fresh stores. The 2 that are open are in Oceanside and Paramus. Paramus is a former Fairway, Oceanside's a former Wallbombs. They're doing terrible. They're talking about writing off over $700 million in losses from these stores, the leases and the technology. What's the problem? So if they don't go there, who does? You now have 7 stores ready for operation. Stop and Shop going to go there? Is Cullen going to go there? Is Key Food going to go there? Is ShopRite going to go there? No. It's probably going to be Lidl, or it's going to be Aldi, or it's going to be Dollar General, or Dollar Tree, all companies that are direct competition for our employers. Why do I bring it up? Because as happy as we're going to be that Amazon vacates the business, they can still sell that technology to the next employer who's willing to step up and pay the money. That's going to impact our business. Amazon's been hinting that in the next year they're going to have the next iteration of their grocery business. Hopefully it's as shitty as the last iteration, and we really don't have to have a long conversation about it. But with a company that size, I don't know what that means. So you read these publications, it's very vague. There's not a lot of specifics, and you really have to be concerned if they do want to punch all in on grocery. They have everything at their disposal and enough money to try anything at a loss for an extended period of time, way more so than any of your employers could do. And then if they become the only game in town, they can make money by mistake. In spite of themselves, they can be a successful company. Who knows what's next? But they posted a 9% comp increase company-wide in 2020, in first quarter 23 over 22, excluding grocery. I don't know why they excluded grocery, other than the fact that they probably wanted to say they had a 9% increase quarter over quarter because they're losing their shirts in grocery. But they're focusing their grocery on providing no national brand choices, which creates a lower price for the consumer and a higher markup for them. You know, for those of you that have supermarkets and private label brands, you know what that means. Your private label you can sell at less than half the price and still make more than double the markup that you make on a national brand. Aldi, Lidl, Dollar General, that's all they do. And now you got Amazon jumping into that with both feet from the internet perspective, from an e-commerce perspective. Whole Foods Market coming to Sunvet Mall in Holbrook. How many Long Island people are here? Does it make any sense to you at all that Whole Foods would be going to Holbrook? Down the block from one of the busiest Costco's on Long Island, across the street from one of the best Stop and Shops on the South Shore, and diagonally across the highway from a Target with a supermarket inside it. But they're going to put a Whole Foods Market in the old Holbrook Pathmark site. It's nonsense. But they're going to do it so no one else does. That's all there is to it. There is not the right demographic for Whole Foods Market in Holbrook. And if you're watching, Jeff, I'm telling you here, it ain't the right place to go. They're reorganizing from 9 regions to 6. Stop and Shop, that sound familiar? Didn't you all just go through that recently? So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to eliminate tons of corporate jobs, lots of big salaries, less support as it trickles down to those stores, which means the people in Whole Foods are going to be left fending for themselves. Walmart cut over 1,000 jobs in April. All they did was eliminate weekend and evening shifts in its fulfillment centers in New Jersey, California, Florida, and Texas. Wegmans coming to Lake Grove. Only store in our jurisdiction so far is the Brooklyn Navy Yard. They're going to open in Astor Place in a former Kmart in Manhattan. They're openly shopping 2 other locations in Manhattan that we're trying to find better suitors and we're trying to get to the landlords. The reality is Wegmans was an upstate problem 4 or 5 years ago. Now it's our problem right here in New York City. Wegmans is a destination employer, violently anti-union with a ton of money, and they're in our backyard. Costco reported flat sales in March for same-store comps for the first time since 2020. Anybody ever driven by a Costco and not seen the place busting at the gills? Even Costco is suffering because of the inflation. Flat sales, down 1.1% for the first time since 2020. Kind of levels the playing field a little bit when you think about your own store volumes. Uncle Giuseppe's opened their 11th store in Tinton Falls, New Jersey this year. I can remember when Uncle Giuseppe's had 2 stores on Long Island and nobody knew what the fuck that was. Now they have 11 stores in 3 states. It is represented by the UFCW, not us, but another UFCW local. Stu Leonard's, right down the block here in East Meadow, opened their 8th store in Clifton, New Jersey next year. It's their 2nd store in New Jersey. And again, I can remember when they first crossed into New York and went to Yonkers. And they built them their own exit off the Hutch. Now they have 8 stores in our jurisdiction. Aldi, projecting 120 ads, 120 new doors this year alone, focusing in on the Southeast. Anybody want to guess how many stores Aldi has in the United States? Over 2,400. That's more than Kroger. This is not stuff people want to talk about. This is not things that your employers want you to hear, but this shit that they throw at us and they throw at Joe and they throw at Allie when they bargain a contract. Dollar General, I've said it a bunch of times, and I'm sure a few of you at least are scratching your head. Why does he keep talking about dollar stores? Because Dollar General has been putting in frozen food doors, dairy doors, and produce stores all across the country. And they put in 400 or 500 sets of those departments in less than 12 months. Where it would take many of your companies 12 months to renovate one store, they're installing departments that didn't exist in 400 or 500 stores a year. Dollar General has over 19,000 stores, over 150,000 employees, and 17 direct warehouses where they ship direct to their own stores. They've also paid $15.4 million in maximum fines to the federal government for safety violations. Blocked fire doors, locked fire doors, no route in a case of a fire, electrical boxes that look like Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe installed them. They don't care. They paid $15.4 million in violations. What do you think that boils down to with 19,000 stores? Do you think it even shows up as a material number on their ledger? It doesn't, and they don't care about their workers. All of these companies are non-union. All of these companies are incredibly profitable. All of these companies are treating workers like shit, laying people off, and crushing profits. Profits that they've never been able to forecast. You know, we've had a number of stores close in the last 2 years. You know how many folks we've had laid off? 0. Yet companies like Amazon and Walmart are laying off thousands of Americans without blinking. They flip a switch, they switch a pen, and people lose their jobs, their families, and their communities are destroyed. The only thing that changes is the name on the game. We used to talk about Walmart. Now Walmart's second, third, or fourth in the conversation because of companies like Amazon, Aldi, Lidl, Dollar General, Target. These are now the bigger players in the space. For us, it boils right back down to the same thing it always boils down to, our membership. Your ability to do the jobs, your knowledge about your products and your trading areas is everything that separates your employers and keeps them in a competitive advantage. The realities for us are very simple. If we don't continue to organize, if we don't continue to organize in new industries, if we don't continue to organize in your industry, we're all in for an uphill battle. This union had over 22,000 members. It currently has less than 16. Now, this ain't a fire sale, not by any stretch of the imagination, but it's going to take a lot of member involvement to get up and to get ready to fight the next battle. Joe referenced the stores from Local 1718, which are now represented by Local 888. We have service agreements to represent 10 of them. 4 have now officially switched to Local 1500 as of June 1st. The other 6 will hopefully take place before the end of the year. Those shops came to us from an independent union, which wasn't represented in any stretch of the imagination, so the members took over their union. Unfortunately, they didn't know what to do next, and they needed some help. They came to the UFCW, and that's how we landed into a service agreement. Those shops are all going to come over, and the majority of them are in the kosher industry, an industry that we represented for over 30 years but have been out of for about 15. We have a nasty non-union competitor coming to the Five Towns that already has a site in Brooklyn called Bingo. Lillian is nodding her head. Bingo is going in the former Stop and Shop on Burnside Avenue, 68,000 square feet. What is Bingo? Kosher Costco. That's what it's called. We have 250 new kosher members in the Five Towns in 4 gourmet glot stores. I assure you, Bingo is going to be rolled out the unwelcome mat from this union. We're going to need member support. We're going to need member involvement. We're going to be doing an informational and educational program there, which may or may not include a number of things this union hasn't done in a while, and we're on social media, so I'm not going to get into specifics. But I can tell you that Mr. Santarpia is going to be leading that campaign, and he's going to need, I think you said a few good men earlier, but he's going to need a few good members. And he's going to need a few good members' families, and he's going to need a few good people that are ready to stand up and defend this local in its newest jurisdiction. All of these things are relevant to us. Whether they impact you directly or indirectly, our entire industry impacts all of us directly. And we can't put our head in the sand and say, oh, that's just another new Lidl, or that's just going to be another new dollar store. Because every one of them chips away at the profits of your owners, it chips away at the hours that you get scheduled, and it chips away on our ability to have union density in this area. So, as opposed to rattling on about all the things we do, I'm trying to show you that there's a lot of things we have to do left. And then we're going to need a lot of help to get it done. And as much as I love everything that we've been able to accomplish, if we don't start to move some of the pawns on the board our way with organizing, it's going to get real hard real fast. And I, for one, don't think anyone in this room wants to make their lives more difficult than they already are. So, to all of you, familiar faces or otherwise, welcome back. Thank you all for taking the time to come out tonight. And hopefully we didn't screw this YouTube thing up, Nick and Tariq. And we don't have a lot of angry members out there. But thank you very much for indulging me. I appreciate the time. I do encourage you all to come fishing. Me and Mr. Nelson like to hang out in the back of the boat. And last time I caught a fishing pole, not a fish. But it's a nice fishing pole, and it's functional. And, you know, Kathy turns it more into a booze cruise than a fishing trip. But we all have our roles on the boat. So thank you very much, and we'll talk soon. Are there questions? Do we know? All right, well, as we get to questions, you want to grab cards? Thank you, brother. Oh, not bad. All right. All right, we're going to do some questions. The first question came from Samuel Hayward, SRS 278. Hang on one second. Hey, guys. Hang on, guys. All right, so Samuel Hayward, Stop and Shop 278, Ville Marie's member. Are text messages presenting new insurance I did cover that. Real or false? Ville Marie will get a hold of you tomorrow, Samuel. I've been working 45 hours per week for roughly 11 months. Am I eligible for a full-time position? Ville Marie will also call you about that. ShopRite 278 is you, yes? Who's 278? Desmond. Okay, so Desmond will get back to you tomorrow. You heard? Superstar? Yeah, stop talking. Stop selling Amway products. Samuel Hayward, ShopRite 278. You're going to have to reach out to him tomorrow, okay? All right, Yvette Hicken, Foodway, Wands member. Concerning the Labor Day parade, will there be a bus for the Brooklyn folks? From Brooklyn, you're going to take public transportation to get to Manhattan, but there will be a bus coming out of the Union office. If you prefer to come here, you can ride the bus. Emily Daniels, King Cullen 51, Steve Ziner's member. When will a new King Cullen contract books be available? I actually started working on that today. I would tell you that it typically takes anywhere from 4 to 5 weeks for everything to get done. The only thing that can delay it is the employer reviewing our changes once we make them. It takes us a day or two to make them. We give it to legal to review, and then it passes back and forth to 2 or 3 of us here. But I would tell you our goal is to have the Cullen contract in the stores before the end of the summer. Deb Athens, Dan's 12, Rob Ecker. When will they finish the renovations in our store, and will we get lockers? Rob Ecker will let you know. Rob Ecker will be there to talk to you about that, Deb. Thank you very much. You're always here with us. Jacob Gerbino, Stop and Shop 551, Jeff's member. Are vendors now packing out Gatorade? I've noticed that they are in Massachusetts, working up there for the summer. Yes, Gatorade was purchased by Pepsi Cola. This was something the union was involved with 2 or 3 months ago. They bought the distribution rights to it, and unfortunately, the Pepsi contract would be canceled if there was a change, if we tried to refuse, or if any one of the employers tried to refuse Pepsi the ability to pack out Gatorade, they wouldn't deliver it. We have been assured that there was no loss in hours. We are tracking that, and that's going to be nationwide. That's going to be employer-wide. So that started with a handful of employers in a different geography, but it will eventually be the case from tip to tail in the country because Pepsi Cola bought the distribution rights for Gatorade. Will there be improvements for the part-time employees? Jacob, without getting into specifics, I don't really know what you mean, but your contract, there was a 5-year contract when it was negotiated. It is up in December of 24 or 25? 25. December of 25. If you have specific questions, I encourage you to talk to Jeffrey, whether or not it's during the contract period. You always have the ability to contact a union representative and run any questions you have by him. Yalitza Rivera, Stop and Shop 235. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name. That's you, Desmond? Yes, sir. Good, you're paying attention this time. Concerning the benefit text you spoke about, is there a set contact that we can add? They do change the numbers that they come from, and they do change the email addresses and the phone numbers, both the text messages and the phone calls come from. But I can tell you that we do have posters in every one of your stores, and those are up already, correct? The scan with the QR code. You can scan the QR code on the poster in your store, and you can completely avoid using the text message thing if that makes you more comfortable. Desmond can absolutely tell you where in his store that flyer is, and he'll reach out to you tomorrow. Okay? Any other questions in the room? Other than Wise Peter wearing that wrap on his head? No? All right. Okay, that's it for the Q&A. I'm going to turn it over to the Waddies for your raffle, and good luck.
Win the box. You got the box?
Go ahead. Put on it. When does that thing go first?
I don't know, either one we can do. You want to do this first?
Yeah, do that first.
All right, do the winners.
Okay, this is for the wine, chocolate, gift baskets. We're going to have 2 winners tonight. She's got that right there. Look where you got. You want to pick?
She can put your makeup.
I'll come to you. I'll come. I didn't pay attention.
Ron,
He's like, yeah, get up here and take a ticket.
Don't you do these separate
Chauvinism and common sense.
from there altogether?
these are Facebook? Yeah, we do them separate. So what I-
You got names on these.
these are Facebook. Those are not mixed with
Nadine Edwards and Raphael Molion.
I'd like to accept on behalf of the
Where's Raphael?
He's out front. He's out front.
Oh, he's gonna look.
Going once.
He's gonna do that.
Okay.
Rob, you want to donate the basket back, right?
Oh,
Oh, look at him.
how'd you buy a ticket for your own?
Yeah, don't it?
Yeah.
Whoever wins, I want a bottle.
I just want the sweatshirt.
Hey.
Yummy. Yummy.
Oh, yeah, okay. Congratulations.
You gotta give Raph a bottle.
Yeah,
like, I don't think
yeah, all
so.
right.
Come in front of the camera so they can see you.
Oh,
All the way over here. Yeah, yeah.
You get out of the way.
not me, no.
Don't hit her in the head.
Okay, now.
You got that?
Yes.
All right,
You got it.
thank
Hey,
you.
wait a minute.
Well,
Yeah.
you want to take a picture?
Yes, I do.
That's right.
One more.
Whatever you do, don't give it to Agnew.
Excellent, thank
Don't
you.
listen to Ralphie about giving the spot. You don't have to give him the spot.
Okay. Thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, let's mix these up. We got all the cards, everyone? We good?
How many you want?
Al? We're doing something else? We're picking it. We got-
Well, these cuts.
Those are in-person attendees.
So we need a member, I think, to pull them up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Kathy Brawley. Yeah, she's calling 55. Yeah, Kathy. Come on up, Kathy. What, bailing you out?
I've taken care of business.
Come on up, come on up.
Nice job. You got to pick
You know what you did?
Yeah. They sell Grey Goose at Stop and Shop? Hey.
Oh, hey. No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Wait,
Sure.
please pick it.
Please. No, you
Don't
can't
look.
look.
I can't see
Mix it
without
up,
my
mix
glasses
it up.
anyway.
Mix it up, mix it up.
Mix
There
it
you
up.
I see a candle on it.
go. Hey, okay,
Behave.
Does he write the store numbers?
yeah.
You do it. Thank you.
Robert Leeds.
What?
Can call him 55. Can call him 55. Congratulations.
Here you go.
Massapequa
We're
Park.
gonna pull it away.
In the
'cause-
house.
Wait, Robert, come
You gotta-
back.
you gotta pick
You're gonna
a
pick
card.
another one.
Close
pick
your
a
eyes.
card.
away, you gotta
Close
look
your
away.
eyes. Just pick one. Hey, close your eyes. That's what you.
I can't see, so.
Rich Nelson. King Cullen Store 8. He's calling folks.
Nice.
You realize now I gotta take Jay to lunch twice.
Yeah. Oh, is that how that
No,
works?
you,
Okay.
wait, you gotta really turn, because you're really
Yeah,
tall,
yeah, you can
so.
see like slam dunking in there.
Rich, I would just give him the card and send him on his own.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Charles DeTora. Did I get that right? Charles? Hey, come on up. My first Stop and Shop went over the side, right? Thank you. No, what story? Which story from, Charles?
Stop and shop.
Which
one?
which
Oh, jeez, I forgot how I work.
What town?
Method.
Medford.
All right.
581.
Okay,
Pick
look
one.
away and pick another.
How many? You got the.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Fernando Jalon, where are you, Fernando? I saw you here.
583.
Trying to get out of here. He's trying to get out. Good to see you.
Good thing you stayed.
Congratulations.
Now we're going to pick one. Just look away, please. Thank you.
Card me.
Away, leave him.
Thank you.
Michael Verdino. Michael Verdino. Come on, Mike. Wild by Nature, Oceanside. Congratulations.
Here you go.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate
Just
it.
have you pick one.
Pick one.
Yep. Just look away. Thank you.
That's good, Steve. He's all happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Jean Joe Sass. Jean Joe. Jean? Right. Sorry about that. Stop and Shop 545. Is it Jean?
Yes.
Dump them in.
Dump them all in?
Yep.
Wait, we have one more.
Okay. That's
Thank
7. That was 7.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing it.
Go ahead.
Right?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Jean got away. Come on.
I got it.
Oh, okay.
You're not a
pull one out.
member. Don't
Hey,
look. Look away.
Yeah. Anthony B. Martinez. Anthony Martinez? Anthony? Come on. Come on. Gourmet Glock, baby. Gourmet Glock. Woo!
GG, huh?
Yeah. Congratulations. Yes.
That's all right.
That's how raffles work, bro.
Here you go. Hold on 1 second.
1 second.
You gotta dump that in.
Dump this in.
Now we're gonna mix the
YouTube live.
YouTube. Sorry, live.
Mix it up.
people now.
See
gotta
them getting
fix
mixed
that
up?
bad.
See that? They're getting mixed up. Put that one
Don't
back
throw
in.
'em out.
All right.
Okay.
Good. All right. Got one of these. Please. Barbara Galligan, King Cullen 14, Hewlett. Yeah, we could clap for the. I know they didn't make it out here, but gee, show them a little love. Let's see, who could come up here? Lillian, come on up. Help us out with picking some of these, please.
Pick 2, Lil.
Going slow. Pick two?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
1, 2.
Okay.
Jean Baudrier. Jean.
He's in the room.
Jean.
Oh, he's gone.
Jean.
He's gone.
Jean Fort. Okay.
That's all right.
And Michelle Reed from ShopRite 204. Yeah, hey, Michelle. They don't. Yeah. Come on, Jay, pick some. We know you can't win. I was afraid Lillian was gonna pick her own. Yeah.
Come on, I
Pick a
can't
couple.
get one.
Pick a couple.
A cup. There you go.
This is more than a couple. One at a time works too.
You should pick a couple.
Well-
I think a couple.
There's like 3 or 4 in there.
All right.
All right, cool, thanks. Okay,
Never easy, Jay.
Jacqueline Lumley. Jacqueline Lumley. Come on, Jacqueline Lumley. AKA the best steward of 2023, okay? Thank you.
Here you go.
Pick.
Yeah, how many? You got
All right, what do you got?
Oh,
Yeah,
So
you got
there's
one in your
two.
hand?
Yeah,
Two
so
more.
2 more, okay.
Right.
Also, John Bukowski, come on up, buddy. Come on up.
Goes for John.
That's for John. Now we're picking 2.
This is for the one.
I let him pick the last 2?
Here you go.
Thank you.
All right, John.
And then you can pick two. Yeah?
Yeah, pick
2?
please.
Yep.
Yeah, 1 and then 1. 1. And 2. Okay, Dion Kalinda.
There we go.
Dion,
Yeah.
yeah, come on up. She won. She got up like she won a Grammy and she didn't know. She's like, no, not me. Thank you for being here, Dion.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And last,
Yep.
but certainly not least, John Oropeza. Come on up, John. Yeah.
Lots of invitations. Love it. All right, we need a motion to adjourn.
We have an announcement, though.
We have an announcement.
Oh, okay, sorry.
What's the announcement?
The announcement is something that, hello, everyone.
Hello? Whoa! Wait, 1 second.
It's a simple announcement. It's something we should do every meeting. The next general membership meeting, okay, is Wednesday, September 13th, okay? The next general membership meeting is Wednesday, September 13th. It is the Wednesday after 7 p.m., yes, the Wednesday after the parade. So let's spend some time together in September, okay? Thank you for coming out.
Motion to adjourn! Second! All in favor, aye?
Okay, thank you.